All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something called future search.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it's this really unique planning strategy, less about like putting out fires and more about designing the future you actually want.
Sounds pretty cool.
Right. And get this, the article we're looking at is called What Makes Future Search the Ultimate Tool for Visionary Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs, okay.
But don't worry, we're going to break it down so it makes sense, even if you aren't, running some giant company. Like, how can you actually use this future search thing, even if you're working solo?
Yeah, because a lot of planning just gets stuck in that fix-it mode,
Totally.
Future search is like, flip that. It wants you to picture your perfect future first.
It's like having a crystal ball, but instead of just seeing the future, you're actually, like, designing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. You shift from just reacting to problems to, like, taking control and shaping things the way you want.
Love that. So, how much time do you spend just putting out fires versus, like, actually working towards those big goals? Something to think about.
It really gets you thinking differently. It helps you see all these new possibilities you might not have even realized were there.
Okay, I'm totally on board with the idea, but I gotta admit, it's still kind of abstract for me. Like, how does this play out in real life? Can you give me an example?
Sure. Think about Amazon.
Oh.
They're like future search masters.
Really?
Remember back when one-click ordering seemed like a totally crazy idea?
Yeah, or like same-day delivery, it seemed impossible.
Exactly. They envisioned those impossible goals and then worked backward, figuring out, okay, what steps do we need to take to make this happen?
So instead of getting all stuck in the how, they focus on the what first?
Right. They trust that the how will kind of like reveal itself along the way.
This is making a lot more sense now. But what about those of us who don't have, tons of resources like Amazon? Can a solopreneur like actually use this approach?
Totally. In fact, the article even has this way to adapt future search for individuals. It breaks it down into five focus sessions.
5 sessions? That sounds doable. What happens in each one?
Well, the first one's all about reflecting on your past.
The past, okay.
Not just like reminiscing, but actually mapping out your journey,
Yeah.
Key decisions, the highs, the lows. It helps you see patterns that got you where you are today.
So it's like turning your past into valuable data almost.
Yeah, exactly. You can even like sketch out a timeline of your career or project, highlighting the big moments. You'll be surprised what kind of insights pop up when you see it all laid out visually.
Love that. Okay, so that's session 1. What about session 2?
So session 2 is about, it shifts the focus outward. You start looking at current trends.
Trends, got it.
What's going on in your industry, your field, like even society as a whole, helps you spot potential opportunities or even challenges that might be coming your way.
So it's like, you're working on your thing, but you got to look up every now and then and see what's happening around you.
Right. Got to see those winds of change. And a good way to do this is by like making a trend collage.
Ooh, a collage. Interesting.
Yeah. You cut out pictures, headlines from magazines, online articles, anything that represents those big forces shaping your world.
And I bet just the process of like choosing and arranging those things makes you think critically about, which trends actually matter to you.
Exactly. It's not just random cutting and pasting. It makes you really think.
Okay, we've covered the past, the present. Now for the fun part, right?
The future.
The future, yes. Session 3 is all about that. It's where you envision your ideal future. And the article really emphasizes going all in on this. Don't hold back. Describe that desired outcome in like vivid detail. What impact are you making? How do people feel? Let your imagination run wild.
I'm already getting excited. It sounds less like, boring planning and more like a creative brainstorming session. Exactly. It's about tapping into that creative energy.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it even more powerful, you can create a vision board. Pictures, words, objects, anything that represents that dream outcome. The more senses you engage, the more real your vision becomes.
Ah, the vision board. I love it. It's way more fun and engaging than like just writing a boring vision statement, right?
It really is.
But I'm curious, these first 3 sessions seem very like individualistic.
Yeah.
How does future search work when you bring multiple people into the mix?
That is a great question, and that is where session 4 comes in.
Yeah.
Session 4 is all about finding common ground.
Ah.
You've got all these individual visions from, brainstorming and everything.
Right.
You need to, zoom out and look for those themes, those patterns that keep popping up.
Especially when you're working with a team.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Make sure everyone's, moving in the same direction.
That makes sense. But how do you make sure it doesn't just become like a watered-down compromise, you know?
It's about finding those core values, those aspirations that everyone really connects with.
Ah, okay.
Think of it like making a mind map.
Oh.
You start with the shared goals in the center, right?
Yeah.
And then you branch out, connecting all those individual visions that support those goals.
So it's not about cramming everyone into the same box.
No. Yeah.
It's more like creating a framework where all those different ideas can, actually work together.
Yeah, exactly. As long as they're all contributing to the bigger picture.
Love that. Okay, so we've got the vision, we've got everyone on the same page. What's next? What's that final step?
Session 5. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
Time to turn that vision into an action plan.
Now we're talking.
You got to break those big goals down into smaller steps.
Right? Right.
And then you set deadlines for each of those milestones.
This is where it gets real. But I can imagine this could get kind of overwhelming after all that big picture brainstorming stuff.
Yeah, it can be a lot.
Any tips for making this stage a little less intimidating?
Definitely. Remember that timeline we talked about way back in session 1?
The one for mapping out your past?
That one. It can be super helpful here too. Plot out those action steps on a timeline.
Oh.
And you'll have this clear roadmap of what needs to happen and when. You can even use colors to, highlight different priorities or categories.
Ooh, I like.
Makes it even more, visually engaging.
Yeah, it's amazing how those visual tools keep coming up. They just add so much clarity and make the whole process more fun than just writing lists and stuff.
Absolutely. It engages a different part of your brain.
But I gotta ask, does this only work for huge, ambitious goals? What if I just want to, improve one specific thing in my business or make a small change in my personal life?
That's a great question. And honestly, Future Search is super adaptable.
Oh, good.
It's a framework, not like a strict set of rules.
Okay.
You can scale those 5 sessions up or down depending on what you're trying to achieve.
So whether I'm trying to change the world or just get better at managing my time, the same principles apply.
Exactly. It's all about adapting the process to, your specific needs and your situation.
That's really helpful. But, it strikes me that we keep coming back to this idea of Future Search being more than just a method.
Yeah.
It's almost like a mindset, right?
It really is.
What do you think makes this approach so transformative for people?
I think it's that emphasis on being proactive.
Yeah.
As so much of traditional planning is about reacting to problems or trying to predict what's going to happen.
Right.
But Future Search, it says, hey, you can be the architect of your own destiny.
So instead of feeling oh, things are happening to me,
yeah,
it's no, I'm actually in control here.
That's it. You take ownership and intentionally shape where your life is going.
That's so powerful. But, thinking about the future, it can be kind of daunting sometimes.
For sure.
What about those times when, you hit roadblocks and things get uncertain?
That's where that future-focused mindset really comes in handy.
Okay.
It's not about ignoring challenges. It's about approaching them with a sense of possibility.
I like that.
You've already envisioned that ideal outcome, right?
Yeah.
You've got your course charted, and you've got this framework for adapting as you go.
So it's like having this compass that keeps guiding you even when things get stormy.
Exactly.
I'm really starting to see the power of this approach. But, all this talk about designing the future, it makes me realize how easy it is to, get so caught up in planning and striving that we forget to just appreciate where we are right now.
That's so true.
Do you think Future Search has anything to say about, living more fully in the present?
That is such an important point, and it's something we're going to dig into more deeply in our final segment. Because Future Search isn't just about reaching that finish line way out there. It's about creating a journey that's fulfilling every step of the way.
Yeah. It's so easy to just get tunnel vision on those goals and forget to, enjoy the ride,
It really is. It's like we're always rushing toward the next thing, and we miss out on the beauty of right now.
So how does Future Search help with that? How do we bring those ideas into the actual process?
It's funny because those visual tools we've been talking about,
yeah,
they can play a big role here too.
Really?
Think about it. When you take a picture, you're not just capturing an image, you're freezing a moment in time.
Right.
You're creating this tangible reminder of how you felt, what you experienced.
It's a visual time capsule.
Exactly. And that act of consciously capturing the present, it can be really grounding.
Okay, oh,
It
yeah.
forces you to slow down, observe what's around you, appreciate those little things you might normally miss.
Finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
That's it. And the more we do that, the more we can appreciate, how rich our lives actually are.
Even with all the chaos and everything.
Exactly. Even with all of that. So how does this tie back into future search?
Well, I'm thinking by capturing our present visually, we get a clearer understanding of our starting point.
Right.
Which then helps us, create a better vision for the future.
Exactly. The more we understand and appreciate where we are now,
Yeah.
the more we can figure out what we want to change, what we want to keep, what we want to create moving forward.
It's like using visuals to connect our present reality with our future aspirations.
That's a great way to put it. And then as we move along that journey, those visuals become like these little reminders, these motivators.
To keep us going.
Yeah. They remind us how far we've come and what we're working towards.
Like a visual map of our progress.
You got it. Showing us that even small steps can lead to big changes.
Yeah.
And don't forget the emotional power of those visuals.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like when you look at a photo or a vision board, it's not just the image itself.
No.
It's the memories, the feelings that come flooding back.
Exactly. It's like it reignites your passion, boosts your confidence, helps you stay focused when things get tough.
Oh, this has been such a fascinating conversation. We've covered so much. The principles of future search, those visual tools, it's amazing. But, we've talked a lot about future search being like more than just a method. It's really a mindset, isn't it?
It really is.
Can you talk a bit more about that? What makes this mindset so special?
Well, at its core, future search is about being proactive.
Okay.
It's about believing that we can actually shape our own destiny instead of just, letting things happen to us.
So it's about moving from a place of like fear and limitation to a place of like possibility and empowerment.
Exactly. It's about understanding that the future isn't like set in stone. We co-create it with our choices, our actions, our beliefs.
Wow, that is so powerful. And it's a message that applies to everyone, right? Doesn't matter what your background is, what your goals are.
Absolutely. Entrepreneur, artist, anyone who wants to live a more fulfilling life. Future search gives you that framework to create a future that truly aligns with what matters to you.
It's about becoming the architects of our own lives.
Exactly. And the best part, you don't need any special skills to get started. It's just about being willing to dream big, think outside the box, and then actually take action.
It's accessible to anyone who's ready to be more intentional with their life, I guess.
That's the spirit. Future search is about giving people the power to shape their own future, not just sit back and wait for things to happen.
This deep dive has been so inspiring. I'm walking away with like a whole new perspective and a bunch of practical ideas I can actually use. And I love how future search encourages us to design the future while still, appreciating the present moment. What a great combination. So to everyone listening out there, take what you've learned today and make it your own. Remember, the future is yours to create.